mechanical malfunction blamed for that locomotive fire over the weekend.
The company that makes OxyContin will stop promoting it to doctors.
And we go on special assignment to see how the state budget cuts are impacting nonprofit organizations in Missoula.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg. Two major housing developments proposed in western Montana would begin tonight in Seeley Lake, where a proposed 60-home subdivision is raising questions about taxes, as the development would be using resources in Missoula County while paying taxes to Powell County. MTN's Kent Lutzen was in Seeley Lake tonight for this meeting. He joined us now live in the studio with what went on. Kent.
Thanks, Jill and Dennis. This proposal is still in the early stages and there are several major concerns, but one is that potential future residents of the proposed development would be living in Powell County but using Seeley Lake and Missoula County for their everyday lives. As you can see here, the proposed subdivision practically falls on the border of Powell County and Missoula County. The development would sit roughly a quarter of a mile northeast of the Seeley Lake Airport. The big question on many Seeley Lake residents' minds are how can they work with Powell County to share expenses of the possibly 60 new families moving into the area?
Well, certainly there would be economic advantages if everybody shares in the cost. So we have to work out a way where everybody pays their fair share for trash, police, fire, etc. That may be one of our biggest obstacles. Like I said, right now there's probably more questions than there are answers.
Bowman also said some residents are concerned with the fact the developer plans to build higher-end homes, and some say what Seeley Lake really needs is affordable housing. Jill, Dennis.
All right, Kent, thank you. Meanwhile, the city of Kalispell is looking toward future growth with projects ranging from the core area project to the downtown plan. Another area where Kalispell is seeing growth is where there's also a need. Family housing developments.
Now, the planning board is going to meet this week to send a recommendation about a new development to the city council to vote on next month. MTN's Jack Ginsburg has details of the plan.
On Tuesday night, the city planning board will deliberate over a proposal for a 324-unit housing development project. Now, the housing development project would go right here on this lot on 2 Mile Drive. And the plans were submitted to the board in December, and since then, the community has voiced their concern.
I don't want a low-income monstrosity that they're proposing in my backyard. That's it.
Jared Nygren, the city's senior planner, says they have heard a lot of public comment since the plan was presented in December. Nearby community members have raised concerns ranging from pedestrian access to potential flooding. This prompted the planning board to direct staff to work with the developer to get a better understanding of how the new project would impact the community before making a final recommendation.
You know, get some more traffic information, some more stormwater information prior to proceeding.
Although the city has worked with the developer to get all the information requested, Nygren says there is still no guarantee that the recommendation will be given Tuesday night.
Depending on whether they think they've obtained all the information that they requested, if they don't feel like they've gotten all the information they need to make a decision, then they likely will continue it again to the March planning board meeting.
Nygren also added that with the city at 0% vacancy, any housing projects like this can be a benefit.
We are trying to look for providing additional housing options, whether it's multifamily, single family. We've done a lot to provide for those types of uses and look forward to getting more of those projects in the future.
After the city planning board deliberates, it will go to city council for them to decide whether 2 Mile Drive sees a new housing development in the near future. Jack Ginsburg, MTN News, Kalispell.
Well, turning now to weather, we saw some sunshine. It was a gorgeous day, but man, it was cold out there. Some changes on the way, though. Let's turn it over now to meteorologist Russ Thomas for the first forecast. Russ?
Yeah, actually, as we look at tomorrow, it's going to be very nice, just about the same as today. It's going to be a very cold night out there for sure. Let's take a look at our satellite and radar, and we do have a clear sky. Again, conditions beautiful and a lot of stars and very, very cold, as mentioned. Now, the one nice thing is, whereas this morning we woke up and there was a breeze out there bringing those below zero wind chill values. It's going to be calm tonight, so a little frost on the windshield tomorrow morning for sure. We're already sitting at 2 in Polson, 5 above in Kalispell, 5 below in Seeley right now, 9 for Sula and Missoula, and about 12 degrees in Hamilton. And we'll have more coming up in just a few minutes.
Montana Railing says it was a mechanical failure that started a fire in a locomotive hauling a train over the weekend near Clinton. MRL spokesman Jim Lewis says the fire started just after 4 Sunday when unburnt fuel entered the locomotive's exhaust stack. MRL workers notified the dispatch office in Missoula, who then called 911. The train crew separated the other cars, which were oil tankers, from the engine and moved that locomotive to a safe distance. It was later discovered those oil tankers were empty, but the burning engine was attached to its fuel supply, which would have threatened homes in the immediate vicinity. The fire was put out after the fuel shutoff system was engaged. Nobody was hurt and no other cars were damaged. Lewis says the service to MRL's main line had only minor disruptions. This incident remains under investigation.
New at 10 tonight, citing a conflict of interest, the Stevensville Town Council demands new Mayor Brandon Dewey step down from his job at the fire department, saying it's a conflict of interest for him to be both supervisor and employee. The Town Council leveled the demand at tonight's meeting, weeks after pressing him to step aside as the fire department's administrative assistant and volunteer firefighter. Dewey took over as Stevensville mayor January 1st. The council maintains allowing Dewey to serve as both an employee on the fire department and as mayor having a supervisory role creates incompatible positions. Despite appeals of support, including an emotional statement from Fire Chief Jeff Motley, the council voted unanimously to ask for Mayor Dewey's resignation as a firefighter.
He will be sorely missed by the department. It really does kind of put us in a little bit of a bind. I appreciate and I'm very thankful to have had his support in his service.
And when Mayor Dewey takes his suit off to be a mayor, he goes over to the next office, and then Jeff Motley becomes Mayor Dewey's boss. And I know that sounds funky, but it's the law.
The council was going to give Dewey a day to respond, but he immediately submitted his resignation to the fire department tonight, saying even though the request felt like a personal attack, he would comply with the council's wishes. For many nonprofits and service providers throughout the state, it's still unknown just how much they're going to be impacted by recent state budget cuts.
But for one Missoula nonprofit, they've already had drastic cuts to look at, and it's only going to get worse, according to them. MTN's Don Fisher goes on special assignment with the story of one man whose life may forever change because of these budget cuts.
I think it'll be pretty frightening to think that everything's going to end and I might have nowhere else to go.
For Barkley Nickel, the future is more uncertain than ever, and he's been through a lot. Barkley lives with a variety of developmental disabilities, but that doesn't stop him from being a productive member of the Missoula community.
I am a janitor at the Missoula Smoke Jumper Center. I'm also on the board of directors for Opportunity Resources. I am actually the board secretary.
But he needed help to get here. About 10 years ago, Barkley got involved with Opportunity Resources, a nonprofit that was founded over 60 years ago by a group of parents that were looking for services for their kids with disabilities. Today they serve about 800 adults with disabilities in the Missoula Valley, along with an additional 800 with case managers throughout western Montana. Through Opportunity's extended employment program, clients like Barkley are able to find work and thrive, but that could all soon change.
The extended employment program may run out of money before the end of the month. So what that would mean for us, what that would mean for them, is that they could be losing their supports in the community, which means community employers are going to be losing excellent employees throughout the community.
If the cuts come through and are finalized, about 30 case managers could be out of work, including dozens of other clients which Opportunity Resources serves.
That means individuals in those smaller communities are going to be on state case manager caseloads. What we're being told is those caseloads will be at least 60 people. What they used to be is 30. So it'll be a large impact of those people, because whether it's a state case manager or a private case manager, to have a caseload of 60, the service is going to be very different than it is today.
Different for people like Barkley. Even before these cuts, which could be happening as soon as April 1st, organizations like Opportunity Resources have already felt the pinch. Direct support professionals who make home visits for things like meal prep are losing wages and hours, making it more difficult for them to fulfill their work. Vocational services have seen a 20% cut, and a program that works in schools to help kids find jobs in the community has lost 45% of their funding. For Kendrick, who has been with the company for 20 years, it's uncharted territory.
We're seeing unprecedented times. I don't think Opportunity Resources in the last 60 years has ever seen times like this. We're a strong organization. We will make it through this, But the sad part is that adults with disabilities in the Missoula community across western Montana are going to feel the impacts.
Where do you think you would be without opportunity resources?
Maybe on the streets. I don't know.
On special assignment, Don Fisher, MTN News, Missoula.
Kendrick's been back and forth to Helena in an effort to work out a way to save the program, but to no avail. You can learn more by going to our website, KPAX.com.
Coming up, Russ says tomorrow looks nice, clear and cold again, but some changes on the way. His forecast is next.
And we'll meet the musher who came out on top to win the